May I come in?
Yes, please come.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, sir.
Please have a seat.
Thank you, sir.
So, Vishnu,
Yes, sir.
introduce yourself.
Good evening, sirs. Good evening, ma'am. My name is Vishnu Sasikumar. I was born in Kerala. I have been brought up in Gujarat. I did all of my schooling in Gujarat till class 12. In 11th and 12th, I took humanities, post which I did my graduation in political science and economics from St. Stephen's College, Delhi University. I graduated in 2021, and since then I have been preparing for the civil services. Based on the civil service exam 2022, I got into the Danik service, and on December 26, 2023, I have joined Danik service and I am currently undergoing training as a Danik's probation.
Where?
Sorry, sir.
So you are in probation?
Yes.
Okay.
So, Danit's, when did you join Danit?
So 26 December 2023.
Okay. So, just
Yes.
So, Vishnu, you were born in Kerala and you stayed in Gujarat.
Yes.
So, just compare the status of women of the two states. Both the states are known for the special status of women they have. So, can you compare Gujarat and Kerala with respect to women's status?
Sir, in terms of, there are similarities and differences as well. So, in terms of similarities, the role of women in the economy and society of Gujarat and Kerala both, they have a very crucial role to play, be it in terms of economic activities. In Kerala, through schemes like the Kudumbashri scheme, whereby the women participation in SHGs is quite high, we see a lot of women's involvement in the economic development. In Gujarat also, sir, through the cooperative sector like the Amul, we see a lot of women participating, and especially in the household, the kirana shops, in the retail markets as well. There is a lot of women participation by engaging as retail shopkeepers. Sir, also, there is a one difference which we find between Gujarat and Kerala is, sir, the participation of women in primary sector is more in Gujarat compared to that of Kerala due to the change in due to the less predominance of the primary sector in the Kerala economy. So, in terms of access to social indicators, there is one difference. Given that Kerala has high level of HDIs and the initial investment in human development was quite high, the women of Kerala have had greater access to maternal health care, which is also reflected in the good MMR reports of Kerala. But at the same time, sir, Gujarat is also catching up by investing heavily on such schemes.
And Gujarat was the news recently for some big contract that Tata has got in Gujarat.
Yes, sir. There is a semiconductor plant now being established in the Dholera city.
So, why Gujarat? Why no other state?
Sir, there were 8 states which bid for the setting up of the plant. But the Tatas, they decided to set up their plant in Gujarat. So, because the Gujarat has traditionally been an industrial friendly state, given the high amount of physical infrastructure that the state government has created within the state and the access of 24/7 power availability and the availability of land at a very subsidized cost, the cost of production for the semiconductor plant would be less, coupled with the central government subsidy. And so the presence of ports and well-connected infrastructure also gives access for good exports as well as to send it to the other parts.
Right. Vishnu, let's talk about you were delegate in Indo-China and Indo-Azerbaijan
Yes.
Youth Roundtable Dialogue. Tell me about Indo-China. What was this dialogue about, and do you think India-China relations were reflected in the dialogue that you had as part of this youth delegation?
So this dialogue was held in 2019 when I was in the second year of my college, prior to the Galwan issue. Sir, in this dialogue, we had a provincial delegation coming from Hunan province of China, and we had the dialogues at the India Habitat Center, whereby we discussed on the level of the local self-governance with respect to China and India. So, with respect to the question on how do the relations pan out in the future and how will it affect such negotiations? Sir,
my question is,
yes,
in this dialogue,
yes, sir.
Did India-China relations also had a reflection in the kind of round table discussion you had?
No, sir, there wasn't much discussion about the border and the security and trade aspects. It was mainly focused on local self-governance where both of the countries could learn
All
from
right,
each
all
other.
right. So let's come to your interesting activity of rail fanning.
Yes, sir.
So tell me, rail connects or rail integrates India?
Sir,
Does it connect or does it integrate India?
Sir, I think it has been doing both the job. Through connection, it has been integrating the nation as a whole because the introduction of railways ensured that though it was done for the colonial pretext, it ensured that the ideas of nationalism were spread throughout by enabling the people feeling a sense of oneness and by ensuring that connecting the different parts of the country, we integrated as one.
Now, I'll give you three main headings, and as rail fan,
Yes, sir.
I want you to comment and give me your view on that. Heritage railways, steam locomotives, and Konkan rail. As a rail fan, can you give me one specialty under each of these three categories? Heritage, steam, and Konkan. And you can add museum also. Which museum have you seen and why?
So with respect to heritage railways, we have three heritage railway lines within the country. One is the Darjeeling toy train, one is the Ooty toy train, and one is the Kalka Shimla train sector. And sir, out of these, based on my limited knowledge, sir, the UNESCO has designated the Darjeeling as one of
Now come to the second.
sir, steam locomotive, sir. Sir, recently, till recent times, the Deccan Ferry Queen was a steam locomotive that was in use, and it has now been placed in the Rail Museum at Chanakyapuri. And sir, thirdly, sir, the Konkan Railways. So, Konkan Railways was one of the biggest major feats of its time because we were able to construct a railway line passing through the sensitive Western Ghats by tunneling and drilling through it, and which reduced considerable travel time connecting from north to south. And it also made sure that the Konkan coast is also being given the fruits of development that it deserves. And so recently, with respect to the Rail Museum, so I have been able to visit the Railway Museum at Chanakyapuri in Delhi.
So, what did you like most in Rail Museum Chanakyapuri?
Sir, I really like the diesel locomotive simulator because it really felt like we were running a train. And I really wanted to experience how a train.
So, have you traveled by steam locomotive anytime?
No, sir, I have not got the opportunity. I really have wished to
So,
travel.
as rail fan, you must try out steam loco.
Yes, sir, it has. I'll definitely try out.
Thank you, sir. So, good evening, Vishnu.
Good evening, sir.
So, you're from Gujarat.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, why do we see so less civil servants from Gujarat?
So, firstly, traditionally, the Gujarati families and households, they have been engaged within the entrepreneurial business venture aspect as well. So, in order to ensure that the family business goes on generation by generation, many of the youth, they are automatically going to the family business. So, civil service as a career prospect was never seen very much till recent times, sir. And so, secondly, is also the fact that earlier, before the advent of internet, when the information was not available or accessible, the amount of information available with respect to civil service examination, the amount of guidance was also very low, which was a deterrent for many youth from Gujarat to take up civil services.
So, Vishnu, you are already into civil services. You joined Danix.
Yes, sir.
So, what further are you looking forward to and why?
Sir, I'm looking forward to join the Indian Foreign Service, which has been my first preference. So that's why I'm writing the exam, and also to improve my service if I'm given opportunity to get into any other aspects of service as well, which I'm interested in.
So, why only Indian Foreign Service?
Sir, it's not that I'm only applied for Indian Foreign
Preferably.
Service. Preference is for Indian Foreign Service, sir, because I've been interested by the Indian Foreign Service, and I have interested in the international relations and foreign policy since I was a child, and it really gives me immense pride, and I feel it as a privilege if I'm able to represent India at the highest levels, advancing the national interest when India is also growing on a such large global scale.
Since your choice is IFS, so how do you see the present world order?
So the present world order is currently fragmented because we have different blocks with different competing interests competing against each other. And sir, unfortunately, the global governance system with United Nations at its center is not able to respond to such crisis. And sir, it is in the current global order, we're also seeing an assertion by the countries of the global south with respect to advancing their interest and advancing their ideas and ensuring that they are able to advance their national interest without being boxed in by other countries.
So Russia warned NATO that
Yes, sir.
they could be in the nuclear war if they keep on supporting Ukraine. So do you think India should change its stance of no first use nuclear policy in the in this serious scenario?
Sir, I think given that we have been able to safeguard our national interest so far with the no first use policy, I think we should continue with the no first use policy because sir, if we change our stance, then that would create unnecessary security dilemma with other countries, especially given that we have two hostile neighbors, Pakistan and China. That would inevitably lead to an arms race in the nuclear arsenal because countries would then want to have the first strike capability. And so it would also send a wrong message regarding our international standing in the world order because we are seen as a responsible and global player, and that image might also get tarnished.
So whenever there are wars, so economic sanctions are imposed, but Russian economy is still doing very well.
Yes, sir.
So what further steps should be taken to have some limit on Russia?
So when we look at the economic sanctions, the nature of the economic sanctions have been very unilateral. They have not been taken by consulting other member states who have to do some business with Russia. So given that these sanctions are unilateral without consulting the other countries, there are always means and ways to circumvent these sanctions. So if the sanctions are taken after consulting the member states, after having a thorough negotiations and deliberations so that the possible loopholes are found out, then sir, I think the sanctions would be much more effective, forcing the states to abide by the international rules.
Vishnu, where do you see Indian economy in 2030?
So by 2030, I'm optimistic that Indian economy would be a $5 trillion economy, given that if we are able to carry on with the current momentum without expecting any global economic shocks in the future.
Now my last question is again on Gujarat. Let's come back to Gujarat.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Gujarat is a dry state,
Yes, sir.
but I heard that liquor was allowed in Gift City or in Gandhinagar.
Yes, sir.
Why so?
So because given that Gift City has attracting a lot of global investors and people from different parts of the world, and given that drinking is a culture in many other countries, in order to ensure that their way of life is also upheld and to ensure that the Gift City investment within Gift City is not reduced due to a cultural difference, the Gujarat government allowed so that the Gift City continues to be an attractive destination for other people to
So
come
for
and work.
development of other cities, so don't you think liquor should be allowed in other cities as well for development as per your logic?
So, so this policy with respect to Gift City was taken because as it's a special economic zone, given that international people also come to work over there, so it should not act as a deterrent for them to come, and so that we don't we attract a good talent from abroad. But so given that in other cities of Gujarat, given the Gandhian philosophy of non-alcoholism, and given that the culture has traditionally been averse to liquor, I think so that would be not be a good step because the security and stability that the state has achieved due to prohibition far outweighs the benefits that the state might have reaped if it would have got the liquor prohibition lifted.
Thank you, Vishnu.
Thank you, sir.
Vishnu,
Yes, ma'am.
so much cross-voting for House of Elders elections to Rajya Sabha.
Yes,
All right. Don't you think it's a slur on Indian democracy?
ma'am. Ma'am, I think each and every member would have a freedom of choice and expression, and given that through voting they are expressing their choice of the candidate, I think it upholds.
Should they have been disqualified, those who have cross-voted?
Ma'am, as per the Supreme Court ruling, I'm not able to recall the Supreme Court judgment, and as per the 10th schedule, whip cannot be issued for voting in case of Rajya Sabha. So I think the disqualification would be challenged in the Honorable Supreme Court.
And Supreme Court can also look into the issue on its own.
Sorry, ma'am, I'm not exactly aware of the provision if there is so.
My next question is, it looks as if we are moving from multi-party system to two-party system, right? Is it not detrimental to Indian democracy, which is supposed to be the largest in the world?
Ma'am, when we look at the Indian polity, we are seeing a loosely two-party system, even though they are not a strict two-party system, not formally organized as such. But given that every individual has a right to form a political union within the state, within the country, and given that it is their own will to join the alliances, I think, ma'am, the democracy is very much in the strength as it has been always. And I believe that, ma'am, there will be a third front which can also come up based on the differing ideologies that the political parties would have.
Vishnu, I want you to compare India's approach towards Indian Ocean and China's policy towards Indian Ocean. And have you heard of grey zone warfare policy of China?
Yes.
What is that?
Ma'am, grey zone warfare is a tactic used by China, whereby the threshold of action would not be so high that it could be counted as an actual conflict.
Where are they using this policy in the context of India?
Ma'am, along the LAC, because there are skirmishes, but we can actually not call them a war also.
Now come to Indian Ocean.
Ma'am, in the Indian Ocean region, the difference between China and India is China has been using debt trap diplomacy to lure the countries into their BRI, whereby we have been using developmental aid as a partnership. China is taking the ownership of the projects on their own, while India has been taking it as co-development and co-partnership model, which is also benefiting, which is demand driven and is benefiting the other countries. And ma'am, we are focusing more on the soft power aspect, like through high-tech cooperation. We are skilling the people, we are ensuring their capabilities are also lifted. And ma'am, the Chinese are using the string of pearls, whereby the ownership is with the Chinese, while in the diamond necklace of diamonds, the ownership lies with the host country.
Vishnu, tell me, what is the capex policy of India? In the interim budget, have you noticed some change in the capex policy of India?
Ma'am, I'm not exactly aware of the figures, but the government has announced that it would reduce the government expenditure and it would entice the private consumption, private investment in the capital expenditure to go up to avoid the crowding out. And ma'am, with respect to the government allocation, the government has allocated 1,25,000 crore for the state governments.
1,11,000 crore.
Yes, sorry ma'am, 1,11,000 crore for the state governments to on a 50-year interest-free basis for the state governments to invest in the capex.
You have done some research on rural program, something.
Yes.
What is that exactly? What have you done?
Ma'am, we as a group of students, we went to Mansa in Punjab, which was the highest, which was the district having the highest suicide rate within the country.
Okay.
So we tried
basically
to find
about drugs and all that.
Sorry ma'am, we tried to find out the reasons for farmers' suicide in Punjab region.
Okay, it is about the farmers' suicide.
Yes.
Why farmers of Punjab are against, they want exit WTO and agriculture should not be a part of WTO. Why?
Ma'am, it is because of the WTO's stand against the public stockholding measures, the MSPs, because it is seen as trade distortive. While it, when we look at Indian scenario, the farmers of Punjab and Haryana, they benefit the most out of the MSP regime because the assurance of open procurement of wheat and rice is happening, and given that wheat and rice has grown in very large scale in Punjab, the farmers of Punjab fear that if we stay in the WTO, there is a chance that India might have to give up on these policies.
Thank you, Vishnu.
Thank you.
Vishnu,
Yes, sir.
you are from Valsad district
Yes, sir.
of Gujarat, which is one of the major tribal districts
Yes, sir.
in Gujarat. Now tell me what changes you have seen in the socio-economic lives of tribals as a result of various programs of the Government of India, developmental schemes, policy initiatives, of course by the state government as well.
Yes, sir.
What changes have you noticed?
So firstly, their health indicators, they have improved due to various schemes. So secondly, and that was also reflected in the NFHS data record. Secondly, given the policy of the Eklavya school, residential school model, whereby the schools in the tribal districts, they are adopted and they are committed to world-class level with the availability of hostels, the access to educations and the literacy level among the tribal population has also increased, sir. So thirdly, their income level has also increased. Their private consumption has increased because the government has given them entrepreneurial ventures through the TriFed and through One Bandhu Yojana, whereby the forest produce is marketed by the government and giving them an outlet in the markets. And so there are also nutritional schemes. I'm not able to.
Good. Which are the PVTs in your Valsad district?
Sorry, sir, I'm not aware of that. I'll have to.
Okay, no.
Sorry, sir.
Now, Vishnu, India has got good relations, bilateral relationship with all the players in the West Asia conflict.
Yes, sir.
Whether it is Israel or Palestine, even Iran, and then Qatar,
Yes, sir.
which is playing as a mediator. Even indirect players like USA.
Yes, sir.
So India has got that distinct position to have good relations with all this. So don't you think India is not doing enough to bring this conflict to an end using its good relations with all these countries?
Sir, India has always been talking about the idea of dialogue and diplomacy to halt the conflict. And sir, India has made it clear that if the countries in the West Asia, they require India's assistance, they call for India's help in mediation, India is always open to mediate in that conflict as well. So sir, I think India can capitalize on the good relations, and it has been doing so rightly, sir, by trying to engage with all the stakeholders separately, not on a equal basis.
Okay, good. Vishnu, this MCD's merger, normally the general perception is that the smaller administrative unit, whether it is a state or a district, would be better administered. That's why a lot of new states are being carved out, new districts in Rajasthan in one go, 19 more districts were carved out, which were, of course, appreciated on various grounds, particularly better administration. But MCDs have been merged. There were 3 MCDs.
Yes, sir.
So why this? Do you think it will lead to some better administration or better? In what way it will serve better good purpose?
Sir, so one issue with the Delhi administration has been the presence of multiple administrative units within the National Capital Territory, which is leading to multiple compliance norms, and the problem has also been, sir, the differing jurisdictional maps with respect to administration, the police department, the revenue department, and the MCD. So by unifying the MCD, sir, firstly, we will be able to iron out these differences, these issues, and ensure better compliance and a unified and integrated mannerly administration. And so secondly, it will also reduce the duplicity of resources that we might be seeing, and we might expect a better utilization of the resources in this regards.
Now, this solid waste management, of course, we have done quite a good work in Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. But
Yes.
solid waste management still continues to be a big problem.
Yes.
In Delhi also, despite all use of modern trucks, collection centers and processing centers, we see these dumps of domestic waste almost in every corner of the city.
Yes, sir.
And we have a very successful model in Indore. Why Delhi administration, Delhi government or MCD could not borrow some good points from Indore civic administration? What is holding Delhi administration back from doing so? Like, main thing is separation of,
Yes.
that organic and
Inorganic.
yeah.
So firstly, the Delhi government though has tried to implement many measures like collection at the doorstep, installing separate waste bins at different intervals, sir. So given that Delhi has a very high population, the amount of resources and the finance that is available with the administration is quite less to commensurate. And given that the population is continuously rising, the capacity is increasing day by day. So secondly, in Delhi, there is a lot of unplanned urbanization that has happened. There are a lot of colonies whereby even proper connections of sewage are not there. That is also one major issue, the issue of regularization of such colonies, which is preventing their doorstep collection. So thirdly, there is also lack of awareness among the people regarding waste segregation right at the household level, which would have reduced.
Thank you, Vishnu.
Thank you, sir.
Vishnu,
Yes, sir.
in India we have a wild ass sanctuary.
Yes, sir.
Where do we have wild ass sanctuary?
Sir, in the little run of Kutch.
And later on, why it is Why the sanctuary has been created? What is the importance of these wild asses?
Sorry, sir, I'm not aware of that. I'll definitely read about it.
And I was reading your Asiatic lions in Gir, they are also dying in big numbers.
Yes, sir.
And they are producing also a lot.
Yes, sir.
So what the management can do to fix the problem? Because a lot of lions are dying. They are coming out of the jungle also
Yes,
to
sir.
the town areas.
Yes, sir.
So what are some management issues?
So, firstly, there are railway lines which are passing through the protected areas in the Saurashtra region. So, secondly, the population of lions has increased very much. So, the current area is proving to be very low for the lions, especially when we
So
look at.
which area we can translocate them in India? Where we can translocate them?
So, there are proposals of translocating them to Kuno Palpur, which is very much similar to the Gir's Gir's climatic zone.
Okay. Vishnu, is Nagorno Karabakh
Yes, sir.
is a dilemma for India?
So, it would not be much of a dilemma for India, sir, because given that Azerbaijan has been traditionally supporting Pakistan in the Kashmir Kashmir matter, and also it is a part
But
of
it
the,
is crossing north-south corridor also.
Yes,
It is
sir.
an important nodal point.
yes, sir.
Then?
So it is a dilemma, but when choosing sites, sir, I think India would tilt in favor of Armenia because of Armenia has been having a good strategic relations with India.
So what happens to our corridors then?
So that would be an interest which would be in jeopardy, sir.
So what are some probable solutions?
Sir, one, sir, would be if we are able to improve our relations with Azerbaijan by diversifying our relations with them.
Okay. My last question is about Sir Creek.
Yes, sir.
Why Sir Creek what is the problem of Sir Creek?
Sir, it is a border dispute between India and Pakistan. So, because there is a Thalweg principle which has been in dispute, and there is a differing interpretation by the Pakistanis and the Indians. So, the Indian side believes that the line from the middle of the creek should be constituted, while Pakistani side believes that the line after the middle line, so a subsequent portion of the territory would be into the Pakistani side. And so, given that it is seasonally inundated by water also, it adds to the complexity of issue.
Okay. Thank you, Vishnu.
Thank you, sir.
So, Vishnu,
Yes, sir.
we have covered whatever we wanted to.
Yes, sir.
If you think there is any area of your DAB that is left out, so I can ask you one last question from that portion.
Sir, teaching I have mentioned as an extracurricular activity.
Teaching and
Teaching, sir, that is one area.
teaching, published articles on international through think tank.
Yes.
So tell me what you are both teaching as well as writing.
Yes, sir.
Right. So where do you teach, and who are your, let's say, students?
Sir, before joining the service, I used to teach at a online tutoring platform where I used to teach 11th and 12th standard kids the basic principle of microeconomics in online mode.
All right. So tell me, during COVID times,
Yes, sir.
did this online did more harm or did it benefit the students?
Sir, I think it had its positives and negatives. So the positives were that it did not interrupt the learning cycle. Through online mode, sir, we could use innovative methods like videos, animations, through which the students could understand the concept well. And students could also, the education in a way by reducing the cost of transportation was made more accessible to people. But at the same time, sir, there were cons also. So the first con was with respect to learning outcome. We could not really ascertain whether the learning outcome was as intended. And so secondly, the internet connectivity issues were there. There were many students who did not have proper and good access to connectivity and devices, which hampered their learning. And so thirdly, the interaction, the socialization, which also forms a very critical aspect of learning, was missed out during online teaching.
Right, Vishnu. So That completes our mock today.
Thank you, sir.
You can wait outside. We'll
Thank
call.
you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So Vishnu, are you feeling very hot inside the room? Because
Yes, sir. I
can
was
see
feeling a bit hot.
sweating on your
Yes, sir.
Good. All right. Anyway, so tell me how you think you have done. How was the mock as per your own standards of judging?
Sir, I think I could have. I felt I was going too long on my answers. That's why the members had to cut me short. So I think I need to work on that. And so secondly, I felt I was not able to smile much and give a very pleasant attitude to the board, which I felt I could have done much more better.
Vishnu, you have assessed one thing very correctly, that you were longish in some of the answers.
Yes.
Definitely you were longish.
Yes.
So you need to check. Just talk in terms of points. I think I had to
Yes.
stop you at one or two
Yes, sir.
places. Right? So that was the only point which you have correctly got.
Yes.
Your personality is good.
Thank you, sir.
You were smiling also. You were not tensed.
Okay, sir.
I won't say that by any stretch of imagination you were not in conversation mode. So we liked interacting with you.
Thank you, sir.
And your content was so enriching and so
you, sir.
good
Thank you, sir.
that it was very interesting to talk to you.
Thank you, sir.
I liked all your replies on comparison. You could have probably, connected Gujarat women are more towards entrepreneurship,
Yes, sir.
right? So, which you mentioned in some other term, didn't
Yes.
use this term. Rail fanning, you knew everything.
Thank you, sir.
And it was good that you have visited one railways.
Yes.
Go and see steam locomotives if you get some time.
Yes, sir.
After your mocks or whenever. Very close to Delhi.
Yes, sir.
Rewari mein hai.
Mhm.
So then you will get the feel of actual steam
Yes.
loco. And I think in Delhi Rail Museum, they run a steam loco as a toy train.
Yes, sir. There's
So
a
I
joy-
didn't ask you on 3-4 more areas, but read up on toy trains also.
Yes.
They are also very big for rail fanners.
Yes.
Let's hear other members.
Vishnu, you are an excellent candidate.
Thank you, sir.
You have done your interview exceedingly well.
Thank you.
Everything is neat and clean and perfect, flawless.
Thank you, sir.
You have done very well.
Thank you,
Only
sir.
one thing I wanted to tell you: this wild hares, they are endemic to India.
Okay. sir.
Okay?
Yes. Yes.
You don't find them anywhere. So
Yes.
that's why they have to be preserved as per a biodiversity system and all that. So
Yes.
they keep there. You're fantastic. I mean,
Thank
you've
you.
done very, very well. And this Azerbaijan issue, issue
Yes.
adding in Azerbaijan, that Armenia issue is that this corridor
Yes.
ends at St. Petersburg.
Yes, sir.
Okay? So
Yes.
that is Russia.
Yes.
Is highly interested country. Iran is also interested country. So we will definitely bank upon Russia and Iran for Azerbaijan to
Yes.
be quite smooth for our thing,
Yes, sir.
But you are very right. We will be with, generally, because we have given them Pinaka missiles,
Yes.
something like that also to Armenia. And our foreign minister was also there last year or before last year, I think he was there.
Yes, sir.
In Armenia, he was there. Anyway, you have done very good analysis.
Thank you,
I'm really impressed with your
Thank
answers. So good.
Thank you, sir.
You will do very well in the interview.
Thank you, sir.
All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Nothing more to add.
Thank you.
Your personality is very pleasing. You're very confident, with very sound knowledge. Just be thorough on your DEF.
Yes.
Valsad district, PVTG, just one small
Yes.
thing. Otherwise, nothing to add from my side. All chairperson, honorable member has said. All the best. You will do
Thank
well.
you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Vishnu, you are today's youngest and the best candidate. You've
Thank
done
you.
so well. Very, very thorough. I was very impressed and it was pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Since you could mention about that Supreme Court judgment,
Yes.
which it was Kuldeep Nair. case.
Kuldeep. Yes.
And secondly, I asked about grey zone warfare. It is something new.
Yeah.
You knew about that also. So
Thank
I was really, really happy with your thoroughness.
Thank you.
Keep smiling in between and I can already see a future foreign. If you have done your returns well, you will reach to the level of foreign secretary. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Okay.
तो विष्णु आपने बहुत अच्छा किया है.
Thank you, sir.
You were able to cover almost all the areas.
Thank you, sir.
चाहे वो पॉलिटी हो, IR हो, इकोनॉमी हो, सोशल इश्यूज हो, आपने सारे कवर किए हैं.
Thank you, sir.
एंड वेरी गुड इन कम्युनिकेशन ऑल्सो, पर्सनैलिटी वाइज ऑल्सो. आपको लग रहा है आप लॉन्गिश थे, बट ऐसा नहीं था.
Thank you, sir.
इट वॉज राइट. तो आप सेम टेम्पो मेंटेन कीजिए.
Yes.
ठीक है. एक छोटा सा मैं एक आपको सजेशन दूंगा.
Yes,
इकोनॉमी इन 2030 पूछा. इवन आवर फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर हैज सेड कि वी आर टारगेटिंग 7 ट्रिलियन.
Okay, sir.
और आपने 5 ट्रिलियन, वो तो अभी 2-3 साल में हो जाएगा 5 ट्रिलियन. नाउ अब हम 7 ट्रिलियन की बात कर रहे हैं.
Yes.
तो वो आप बोल देना.
Yes.
उसमें 1-2 पॉइंट और ऐड कर देते, जो उस समय शायद हम थर्ड लार्जेस्ट हो जाएंगे. तो
Yes.
थोड़ा सा ऐड कर लेते आप उसमें.
Yes.
यू हैव डन वेरी वेल. एंड आपने मीन्स कैसे की इंस्पायरिंग?
So this time so last time, sir, I missed my marks in essay a lot.
अच्छा.
So this time I worked on the essay part and I also worked on the other papers. So I was satisfied with my means, but I'm not
So
sure.
you will pull up lots of marks in the interview, and I have intuition कि आप top 10 या top 20 में आओगे.
Thank you, sir.
हमारा intuition आप पक्का आ जाओगे, and you will score. मतलब we have rarely given 200 plus marks to anyone in the interview,
Yes, sir.
and you will pull up the marks.
Yes, sir.
You are the first candidate to get this rating from us.
Thank you, sir.
We have given you 73%.
201 marks.
Thank you, sir.
So up till now, the maximum threshold was 72%.
Thank
You
you,
have
sir.
crossed that.
Thank you, sir.
So you are doing very well. Just one advice: don't let this tempo be down in any way.
Yes.
Keep it up, and you are doing extremely well. Flawless.
यूपीएससी में
Ready.
जब आप अभी दानिक्स में है ना,
जी.
उस टाइम कितने आए थे आपके?
So 201.
अच्छा.
Wow, very wonderful.
Very good.
तो सेम है. तो वो यू विल पुल अप मार्क्स.
Yes.
फिर से आएंगे आपके,
Thank you, sir.
है ना? So wish
आपने
you all
कब
the
से तैयारी शुरू करी थी सिविल सर्विसेज की?
मैम मैं 2021 से मैंने शुरू किया था ग्रेजुएशन.
तो ज्यादा टाइम तो नहीं हुआ.
जी
You
मैम.
can be a role model also for many prospective candidates.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best.
Thank
All
you.
the best.
ऊपर के
Thank you.
10-15
All the
में
best.
देख के बहुत अच्छा लगेगा आपको.
Thank you.
बहुत
Thank you.
And you are very young. I think the
इसीलिए तो मैंने कहा
UPSC
फॉरेन सेक्रेटरी
prefers very young candidates.
Thank you.
All the best.
You will wear the same suit in the interview?
No, sir. I have tailored another navy blue, dark navy blue suit
good.
and white.
हाँ, वो
Right.
अच्छा है.
That will be
Dark.
better. Yes.
वो अच्छा रहेगा. All the best.
Thank
All
you.
the best.
Thank
all
you,
the
ma'am.
best.
Thank you.
just want to say
We
one
want
thing.
to see
Yes.
your name in top 50.
First
Thank
first
you.
first
Maybe
page
less.
of the result list.
Thank you, sir.
First page में normally 10, 12, 15 लोग ही होते हैं.
Yes. Thank
So
you.
you should name should be in the first. We don't have to fall through other pages.
Thank you, sir.
तो मैं ये कहना चाहती हूँ कि आज हमने आपको बहुत अच्छा फीडबैक दिया एज पर योर परफॉर्मेंस, बट प्लीज डोंट बिकम कॉम्प्लेसेंट.
No, ma'am.
टिल 7th कीप योरसेल्फ अपडेटेड ऑन करंट
Yes,
इवेंट्स एवरी.
Yes.
अभी वैसे 3 दिन बचे हैं.
कॉम्प्लेसेंसी नहीं हो, 3 दिन भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होते हैं.
जी.
कॉम्प्लेसेंसी नहीं होनी,
Yes.
है ना? यू विल डू वेल.
Thank you.
Wish you all
Avoid
the
more
best.
mocks now.
Yes.
Just focus on revision.
Avoid
Yes.
more.
Yes.
अब हाँ ये बात भी ठीक है. more you don't need in fact.
You don't require any marks now.
Yes.
You
Marks तो
prepare.
उनको चाहिए जो जिनको और टेस्ट करना है. You are absolutely ready for no.
Thank you, sir.
All
All the best.
Thank
All
you.
the best.
All the best.
Thank you, sir.